By now, you've probably heard that Diddy's daughters broke down in court after a major bombshell was revealed. But trust me, it's even worse than anyone expected. The girls literally walked out during Cassie's emotional, shocking, and graphic testimony. That moment spoke louder than words. One daughter was visibly shaking, the other looked completely broken. It wasn't just them. The whole courtroom was in chaos. People were crying, reporters froze mid-sentence, and even security looked away. What Cassie shared about Diddy wasn't just wild, it was deeply disturbing and heartbreaking. Just when everyone thought it couldn't get worse, Cassie mentioned the infamous baby oil. You might remember that was already controversial, but what we didn't know is far worse. The way Diddy allegedly used it is beyond creepy and gross. It will seriously make your stomach turn. We'll dive into the details soon, but know this, it's worse than anyone imagined. This trial isn't just a celebrity confession, it's a full-on reckoning. Behind the Hollywood glam, there's only drama, secrets, and pain. If you've been following Diddy's scandals, lawsuits, and backlash, buckle up. This is where everything hits the fan. Now let's break it down gently.
I was in the courtroom as Cassie was testifying, so let me tell you guys everything that you didn't see or may have not heard, because it's a lot. I will say the most damning part of her testimony for me is when she describes a freak-off where Diddy and another man, an escort, are standing on top of her while she is laying on the floor high off of the and they are urinating on her face, to the point where she is choking on them.
The courtroom was tense from the start, but everything changed once testimony began. Daniel Phillip, a known male escort, shocked everyone on the stand. He said Diddy didn't just cheat, he planned and controlled it all. Sometimes, Diddy just watched silently while Daniel paid thousands to sleep with Cassie. Cassie also said Diddy sometimes joined them. Things got worse when Daniel revealed Diddy made him do humiliating acts to Cassie. Some court members even cried. One act was so disturbing the judge cut the mic, struck it from the record, and called a recess. It was that graphic and traumatizing.
After a freak-off, there would be blood, urine, and lots of baby oil.
Daniel Phillip's testimony got even more disturbing. He claimed Cassie sometimes asked for the degrading acts, but he didn't think it was really her choice. It felt rehearsed, like she'd been coached or manipulated. Diddy allegedly directed everything like a music video, down to how much oil to use, 2 full bottles or just half, depending on the day. Then came the most heartbreaking part. Diddy's 3 daughters, just barely 18, were in the courtroom. One looked like she was about to cry, another covered her mouth in shock, and the third just stared at the floor before walking out. They left not once, but twice. People online are calling it irresponsible and traumatic for them to be there. While some say it's important they know who their father really was, others say no child should witness those graphic details.
No videos were shown today. Instead, jurors were handed personal screens so that they could privately see images taken from what Cassie called freak-off videos. She had a binder on the stand with her, and she was going through images identifying people in them.
And that was just one escort's testimony. Shockingly, it's not even the worst of it. What Cassie revealed when she took the stand made everything before it looked tame. If you've made it this far, here's your second trigger warning, because once we open the door to what Cassie said under oath, there's no unhearing it. What she described next changed the entire tone of the courtroom.
To further this context, on the right-hand side of the court seated is her husband, Alex Stein. On the left-hand side, Diddy's 6 out of 7 so sitting in the courtroom as Cassie is describing having weekly freak-off for years.
Did you know the judge had to cut the mic during Diddy's trial because the testimony was that disturbing? Let's break it down. On May 13, 2025, Diddy's federal trafficking trial kicked off in Manhattan under extreme lockdown. No phones, no cameras, armed guards everywhere. But everything changed when Cassie walked in. She didn't just testify. She showed up pregnant and fearless, the only witness brave enough to use her real name. When she took the stand, the room went dead silent. Cassie revealed shocking details. She claimed Diddy controlled her entire life, isolated her, beat her, and forced her into disturbing acts during what she called freak-offs. He allegedly filmed it all, sometimes joining in, sometimes just watching. She said these freak-offs happened weekly and could last up to 4 days, and every time she tried to resist, violence. The judge had to stop some of her testimony mid-sentence because of how graphic it got. especially the stuff about the infamous oils. Cassie wasn't just telling her story. She was exposing years of torment live in front of the world.
Cassie is describing having weekly freak-offs for years. That would last 2, 3, one lasted up to 4 days. She talked about damaging hotel rooms so bad in one instance that they had to pay such a hefty fee because the hotel told them that they needed to completely redecorate the room after a freak-off.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, they played the tapes. The court rolled out never-before-seen surveillance footage, including the infamous 2016 hallway video CNN leaked of Diddy attacking Cassie. But insiders say that was nothing. What the jury saw next was so violent, so explicit, that the entire courtroom shifted. Cassie broke down in tears on the stand. The jury looked stunned. Even the prosecution let the footage speak for itself. It landed like a gut punch. And Diddy? He just sat there, probably regretting ever recording those tapes, because the same footage he once used to control Cassie and others is now being used as evidence against him. Talk about karma.
Cassie was listing the names of the male escorts, and in some of the images, she said it was herself with baby oil on her, and reporters say that one female juror rested her hand over her chest. Also say that a male juror quickly averted his eyes, and another wrote notes while clearly shaking.
Of course, Diddy's legal team came in swinging, trying to twist the story into some messy breakup drama. They claimed it wasn't abuse, just jealousy, cheating, and money. As if that explains the surveillance tapes and years of disturbing control. They even tried to flip the narrative on Cassie, asking why she kept the tapes instead of what Diddy allegedly did in them. But the courtroom wasn't buying it. The jury felt that shift. Then Cassie dropped the truth. She was barely 19 when she met Diddy. He was 37. She said she genuinely loved him, wanted to make him happy, and didn't know better. There was already a huge power imbalance, and she believed that saying no meant losing everything. So when he introduced the freak-offs, she went along. When he hit her, she convinced herself it was her fault. So for anyone still asking why she stayed, listen again, because now the world finally is.
For those who like to stupidly comment, well, why didn't she leave? She said she didn't have the resources and she didn't feel safe to do so. In her own words, I understood Sean's capabilities, his access to guns, and the threats that he made prior to that. Later, Diddy not only threatened to have her freak-off tapes released, but that he would harm not only her, also Kid Cudi, which I'm sure you know he's very capable of doing so. Cassie said he told her that he wouldn't be harming her and Kid Cudi with his own hands, and it would happen when he was out of the country.
By now, the defense probably regretted ever asking Cassie why she never left, because what followed shook the courtroom. Out of nowhere, her husband, Alex Fine, was spotted in the building, standing tall in full support. But there was a twist. Just as the court began discussing the 2018 assault allegations, the judge had him escorted out, saying he might be called as a witness later. Still, his presence spoke volumes. Even if he couldn't stay, he made it clear. Cassie wasn't facing this alone. And remember, this was just day one. The courtroom felt more like a live docuseries, every moment hitting like a gut punch. Cassie is expected to testify for 3 full days, and if this first one is any sign, it's going to get darker, deeper, and much harder to hear. Watching trauma unfold in real time is surreal. Yet despite all this, some attendees believe Diddy might still walk free or get a lighter sentence. Their reasoning? So far, the prosecution hasn't nailed him on RICO charges. It's looking more like a horrific abuse case than a criminal enterprise.
Who came to watch the case were walking out. I hate to say it, we were getting bored in there with Cassie's testimony. I think everybody thought it was going to be explosive. This is a RICO case. They're trying to show trafficking, if you know what I mean. And I hate to say it, but the government is doing a terrible job at showing it. Now, they are showing, yes, domestic violence. They keep asking her, show it these freak-offs. Who selected your outfits? Who did Diddy? But they're not showing, okay, this escort was taken, traveled here for this. And it's not showing multiple people involved. All you're seeing the government prove is that Diddy committed domestic violence, but that is a state case. That is not need a federal trial. So I hate to say it, guys. We know we don't want this. But I think Diddy could get off on the RICO charges.
Oh, and guess who else was in court? Diddy's mom, silent, stoic, watching. Then came Misa Hylton, one of his baby mamas, showing up with a walker, visibly shaken. TMZ tried to get a word, but she wasn't talking. And yes, even Jaguar Wright made an appearance. And you know when she shows up, something wild is brewing. You had family exes and internet firebrands all in one courtroom. The tension? Unbearable. And the saddest part, Diddy's daughters were there too, witnessing every haunting detail. Were they ever supposed to be in that room? Or were they pulled into something way darker than they ever imagined? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, because if day one hit this hard, just imagine what's coming next.